So did the appointment of Brian Molefe as a Member of Parliament confirm the start of what many think is the inevitable? The 2017-18 national budget, the last budget of Pravin Gordhan's tenure, or will it be his deputy to be replaced? Those are the bets that are on the table right now. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight I'm joined by the author and political analyst at the Mapungubwe Institute of Strategic Reflection, Mathekga. Joining us via Skype, Dr. Ivor Sarakinsky from the Wits School of Governance. Ivor Sarakinsky, let's start with you this evening. What's your assessment of the state of play and the game of extraordinary chess that is being played all around the National Treasury?
Well, it's game on, and the stakes are incredibly high, and there's little doubt that there's no love lost between the two antagonists, which is the state president and the Minister of Finance. The speculation appears to be that he was about to be removed earlier, and I think what's delaying this is a balance of power inside the senior leadership of the ANC. It seems as if there's a bit of a standoff, and that's delaying a decision on the Minister of Finance's position, as well as a cabinet reshuffle in general. So it all depends on the power balance between the factions. And how many factions there are, we don't know, but it's this intricate power play that's underway.
And it was so interesting, wasn't it, to the casual observer who might have watched the budget speech and then saw the end of the budget speech and the almost fully inclusive standing ovation that the finance minister got at the budget speech. There were four ministers, notable by their absence, that chose to sit down. And these are those that are basically labelled as the Gupta ministers, ministers who have been captured by outside forces. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, the five who didn't stand up put their cards on the table. Amongst those who stood up, we have no idea where they stand. And that's what makes this terribly ambiguous and difficult to interpret. So when it came to the vote for the no confidence inside the NEC meeting, the one wanted a secret ballot, the other refused a ballot at all. And it's only a secret ballot where we'll really know the outcome in terms of the numbers. At the moment, it's cloak and dagger, it's smoke and mirrors. No one really knows what's going on.
Oh, you think so, Ivor Sarakinsky. You think nobody knows what's going on, but I have Mathekga in studio. He is the author of a brand new book. Well, it's about 6 months old now. When Zuma Goes, he doesn't put a date on it, of course, but he's talking about the sort of institutional rot that has taken hold in South Africa and how he believes it will persist long after the president is gone. And the president will go one day, no doubt, Mathekga. Now, give me a sense of it, please, as you see this particular fisticuffs, bare-knuckle fight between the forces of evil on the one side, the forces of darkness, and the forces of light.
Look, Bruce, I think that we have been expecting cabinet reshuffle, and the only thing is that were there favourable conditions under which President Jacob Zuma could do this. I mean, since the firing of Nhlanhla, and of course he has disowned Pravin Gordhan, openly disowning his own Treasury Minister.
Now hold on a second, he hasn't disowned him.
He has.
He hasn't. He just hasn't owned him.
Like that.
His spokesman, Bongani Majola, I think it is, constantly issues statements to say that the president chose the finance minister, and he is the president's finance minister. Not once has the president himself put a hand on the back and said, "This is my guy."
He kept on saying, Bruce, that
he was my first choice.
More qualified. Is the best, more qualified finance minister South Africa has ever seen. But I think where this is going, Bruce, it's getting even more complex. I mean, now I think that where President Jacob Zuma stands, conditions favor that he can actually take another risk and effect cabinet change. I'll tell you why. Look at what has been happening within the private sector. I don't think it is by coincidence that we have had those reports coming out, the one involving ABSA and the other one involving banks generally. I'm not saying that the issues that are being spoken about here are not true or they need not be reflected upon.
They must never be trivialized.
Exactly.
They're important issues.
They are very important. I'm not trivializing that, but the time at which these reports are dished to the public space is such that for me the intention is to soften the public mood and actually to say to the banks that have actually reportedly twisted President Jacob Zuma's hand to change from Des Van Rooyen to Pravin Gordhan. Now they are under siege. Banks are making calls to maybe the president, I don't know, or the commissioner, perhaps, trying to find a settlement out of this. It's an opportunity cost, Bruce. You can't be lobbying for the president not to do the wrong thing, not to bring about that.
It was always going to be the great big potential conflict of interest. The banks have been at the centre of Pravin Gordhan's initiative. He calls it the president's initiative, but the business, labour and government triumvirate, which has saved the country so far from downgrade, and the president is undermining that. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. And their conduct relating to currency price fixing just doesn't help the situation. If President Jacob Zuma brings about cabinet reshuffle next week, you are not going to see the same level of responses you have seen with the banks back in 2015 when he did that. They are under siege now. He can risk. And again, Brian Molefe, the market might not entirely reject him. No? The market might be stranded, might wait in one place.
Let's see how we go on that. Ivor Sarakinsky, let's get your perspective on this. Has the president successfully created an environment in which he can effect this cabinet reshuffle? One would have thought that the environment was hostile enough for him to do so. Maybe his delay is more indicative of his political party weakness right now than anything else.
Well, he certainly rallied his troops, and the chorus that's coming through from a whole range of sectors who we know support President Zuma is crystal clear. Whether he's been able to mobilize the external forces, the banks, the global players, is another question. So if one looks at this in terms of the factional politics inside the ANC, does his forces, does his chorus hold dominance inside the ANC? And if so, by how much? My guess is that it's pretty close. It's not a clear majority, which means that he's got to tread cautiously, because if he makes this announcement, this has the potential to rip the ANC apart. We could see a massive split. We could see cabinet resignations. We're entering a realm of uncertainty which I don't think we've seen in the last 24, 25 years. So that's on the internal front. On the external front, one has to be cautious about this bank thing. ABSA uncovered the rot itself and immediately suspended those people involved, and at the same time reported this to the Competitions Commission and other authorities. So it's not simply a setup in terms of the banks being marginalized or compromised by this. The banks involved in the pressure for removing Van Rooyen and replacing him again with Gordhan are some of the players that aren't involved in the scandal at all. The banks that aren't really involved in currency trading, more the investment banks. So it's a lot more complicated than that, and the president is going to have to weigh all these factors up. He's going to have to look at his support. He's going to have an estimate of the damage that's going to be done by doing a dramatic intervention and make his decision. And the fact that it hasn't come yet suggests to me that he's not sure. I was expecting a decision earlier, and the fact that it's been delayed suggests that he's reflecting on this and that there's a lot of internal lobbying going on where things are being said which we would love to be flies on the wall to overhear.
Most certainly. I mean, we can read too much into the timing of things, and as Ivor Sarakinsky points out, Mathekga, it is, I suppose, it plays into the president's hands that the banks can be further undermined. I mean, following Bancor, the timing of this couldn't have been better for the president. Yes. However, Brian Molefe, and you would have seen from the convener of the Save South Africa campaign this week, a fantastic open letter saying, Brian Molefe, honourable, great track record, what a great example of black excellence in an environment where racists seek to undermine people on the colour of their skin. But, says the convener of the Save South Africa campaign, we can't trust you anymore. That's essentially, we can't trust you because of the Public Protector's report. You quit Eskom, you said you're going to clear your name, you didn't. You've now been accepted into Parliament, and we believe that there's another game at play here.
Indeed, Bruce. I mean, Brian Molefe's credentials cannot be doubted here. He does have quite a good experience within Treasury. But the reality is that after the release of the State of Capture report, if you promote Brian Molefe to anything without expediting that report, the key issue here is that the content of that report, even if that report itself is not conclusive,
it remains in the public domain.
It remains in public domain, and the content have not been expedited. By promoting Brian Molefe, I think what the president will be doing, if he does, if indeed he finally promotes him to Treasury, he will actually be denying or maybe setting aside that State of Capture report.
Does he care?
He should care, because I can assure
he care?
the DA is going to go to court. Within the ANC, I don't think it matters very much, Bruce. I have to be honest with you. If the president did care about what's happening within the ANC, he would not have gone with Desmond Royan and so forth. The balance of forces within the ANC are such that the president can get away with just about anything. What matters here is how do you soften people outside. But again, why does he go with someone like Brian Molefe? Couldn't he find someone who is less contentious as Brian Molefe? That is just beats me. He's walking straight to the courtroom, and the DA will be waiting to welcome him.
Yeah, I suspect you're right on that particular front. Last word from you, Ivor Sarakinsky at Wits School of Governance. How does this play out? If the president holds his cards too close to his chest for too long, he loses authority. If he plays his cards too soon, he risks tearing the ANC apart. How does it play out?
Gee, if one knew that, one could become quite wealthy playing the markets in terms of the speculation that's going on at the moment.
I'm trying to help our viewers, Ivor. I'm trying to help our viewers.
I think what's happened is that there's a bit of paralysis in terms of the power plays that are going on behind the scenes, and that we will get a decision, but I'm not sure it's going to be as quick as we were expecting it to be. The delays will be in terms of the lobbying and the pressure and the infighting that's going on. And we'll see whether he does indeed get the appointment to either Deputy Minister of Finance or the ministerial job itself. The compromise might be...
scenario. The deputy seems, from a public relations point of view, less damaging to Jacob Zuma?
Yes, indeed. So that might be a compromise that's on the table. So we sacrifice Deputy Minister Jonas, and he comes in as Deputy Minister, and Pravin stays there, and the global markets and the perceptions about South Africa remain intact. These are the options that I'm sure are being thought about as we speak, and we'll only know the outcome when it happens. This is deep stuff. There's no way that people without close connections to the actors will know what's really going on.
Dr. Ivor Sarakinsky from the Wits School of Governance, thank you very much. In studio, the author, of course, and the political commentator, political analyst at the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflection, Ralph Mathekga. 5 seconds. Who does Brian replace, Jonas or Gordhan?
Why would he waste the replacement on Jonas? He'll go for Gordhan.
When?
Very soon, Bruce. Very soon.
Very soon. Well, that is the analysis of Ralph Mathekga this evening. More rumours, more talks between the rumours and behind the rumours, and more issues around the change at Treasury. If the president wanted to make the rumours stop, he could do it by either making a decision or calling Pravin Gordhan his minister. He's never done that. I don't think he's going to do it anytime soon. Good night.